let's park right here for a minute. Jesus says to the disciples to bring it to me. So now, when you bring it to the Christ presence, you give yourself a different opportunity to work with whatever it is you have. Anytime you work with something from the purely standpoint of your faculties, you limit, say limit, you limit how effective it can be. There's a reason why the disciples follow Jesus and not the other way around. What you want to make sure you do is bring whatever it is you have to the Christ presence. So this cup of the right route gives you an opportunity to bring your 5 loaves and 2 fish to the right presence. See, the disciples were not ready to multiply the loaves. Anytime you're thinking about preserving for your own self, there's no multiplication in that. There's no multiplication in being worried about what you have. You have to be willing to bring it to the Christ, and what the Christ does, the Christ is the incarnating principle. Say the incarnating principle. So anytime you bring your potential to the incarnating principle, now you're working with something other than what you see. You always want to bring your fish and your loaves to the incarnating principle. When you bring it to the principle, the same principle that had enough compassion to want to feed the crowd is the same principle that will touch the source, that will multiply whatever it is you need. Let me say it another way. If you have a relationship that's broken, don't just rely on your own sense of love to heal the relationship. I'm saying you can bring that relationship to the Christ presence, and the Christ presence within you is the incarnating principle of life, and that incarnating principle will work where your love center cannot. I'm saying you have to know that you're working with more than you think you're working with. I'm saying to you that the potential that you're working from is greater than the potential that you think you're working from. I'm saying that you think you have all you need, and you do, but you got to make sure you use it from the right level. You have to access it from a deeper part of your soul. Your soul is far more deeper than you think. As a matter of fact, the access and the tools you have are far more greater than you think. You can do more than you think you can do. There's more capacity. I feel good. I feel good. Work with me. Big Mac, there's more capacity. There's more capacity in you than you realize. There's more in you than you realize. How many of you know that you're more than you just appear to be? How many of you know that you go deeper, you run deeper than the last decision you made? Good or bad or indifferent, you've got more ability than you're showing at this very moment. Your potential to multiply runs deeper than you think. So what you really need is a tablespoon. Say tablespoon. Tablespoon. You need a tablespoon of reality. You need a tablespoon of reality. What does the tablespoon of reality do? It helps you appreciate your capacity, and it helps you understand what it is you're working with. It helps you know how to multiply. How many of you have children? Let me just show you about your capacity to multiply. No. See, that's the simplest level. That's the simplest level. That's the simplest level. You have an offspring, is that right? And your offspring has a life, is that right? And the life that your offspring produces, whether you realize it or not, is connected to your ability to multiply. So now when your children go on, let's put them up where they belong. When your children grow on to do great things, all of that is a byproduct of your ability to multiply. See? Now, no. Please, clap for that. Clap for that. Not for me, but because I want you to get a sense of your capacity to multiply. Right? Anything that, not just that you've produced in your life, but that your offspring produces is a reflection of your ability to multiply. It goes deeper than you think. All I'm really trying to say is you are bad. All right, let me keep going. Let me keep going. Where are we at? Where are we at? Pinch of reason, teaspoon of recognition, cup of the right route, tablespoon of what? A pint of refocus. A pint of refocus. Jesus, next, once he has the 5 fish and loaves, once Jesus has the 5 fish and the loaves, according to the text, what does he do? He looks up. Jesus has the 5 fish and the loaves, and the next thing that he does is he looks up. Before he looks up, he tells the crowd to sit down. All right? Before he looks up, he tells the crowd to sit down. Why does he tell the crowd to sit down? Anytime there is a crowd in your life, the crowd becomes far less imposing when you have them sit. The challenge for many of us is that we don't control our challenges control us. We don't control our opportunities control us. But Jesus is a master teacher. Say master teacher. Jesus is a master teacher, and so he makes that which is imposing take a seat. There's always an opportunity for you to take that which seems to be a huge challenge to take a seat. See, the disciples were intimidated by what was showing up. The disciples could not of their own accord say to the crowd, sit down, because the disciples started from a place of too little. But when you know what you're working with and you respect who you are and whose you are, you can say to the crowd, sit down. You got to be willing to say to your crowd, sit down. Because if you don't tell the crowd to sit down, the crowd will turn into a mob on you. Your crowd will start recruiting other crowd members, and these crowd members start making all kind of noise in your head. You ever been downtown and heard a rally or any sort of protest that was going on? It gets really raucous because the crowd has potential and power in it. But your crowd does not have more potential in it than you have in you. As a matter of fact, all you have to do is be willing to say to the crowd, sit down. You got to know how to tell your stuff to sit down. When it stands up, don't let it stand up and swell up on you. Tell that stuff to sit down. It's not the boss of you. It's not supposed to run you. It's not supposed to be telling you what to do. Your condition is not supposed to make you afraid. I believe the scripture says that I did not give you a spirit of fear, but a spirit of power and love and of a sound mind. And if you let your crowd run you, your crowd will run you ragged. Don't let the crowd tell you what to do. You got to do like Jesus did. I love Jesus because he was one tough cookie. There was nothing soft about Jesus. The disciples messing around, Jesus said, give me that stuff. Your stuff is whooping your butt because you're playing too humble. You're acting like you don't know how to cook up a recipe. Do you know how to burn? You know what I'm saying? Have you worked with truth before? If you've ever cooked up something with truth, then you know how to overcome. Jesus was not one who was going to be put under the foot of the crowd. Don't let your crowd run you. It doesn't matter what your crowd is. Your crowd could be an ache in your body. Your crowd could be a lack of substance in your pocket. What you have to do is be willing to take those 5 fish and loaves, get it away from them pussyfooting disciples. You tell them, give me that. And when you get it, now you start to work your stuff. And as Jesus has the 5 fish and the loaves, he tells the crowd to sit down. Your crowd is far less imposing when you have them sit down. Why do you think you sit? In case I have to run up on one of you, you know, I got my advantage. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. It's all peace and love in here. No. So Jesus takes the fish and the loaves, and the first thing that he does is he looks up. He looks up, and I think this came up for the last 3 weeks. He looks up. I just heard someone say the other day, if all you see is what you see, then you'll never see what's really intended for you. Jesus takes his focus off of the crowd, so you need to refocus. Did I give you your R yet? What did I give you? You need a pint of refocus. Jesus refocuses. He refocuses. He takes his attention. He takes his energy. He takes his mind's eye. It's a tough spot. It's a tough spot, ladies and gentlemen, when your mind's eye is focused on your problem. You're in a tough spot when you're meditating on your challenge. That's not the best way for you to overcome the thing that is your crowd. That's not the best way to work what you know to be principle. As a matter of fact, what you focus on maximizes. What you concentrate on becomes more concrete. And so Jesus tells the crowd to sit down, and when he tells the crowd to sit down, the challenge is lessened for him.